you're not perfect, and sometimes when you're complaining about other people or scolding other people, I believe it just reflects back on your energy. Why is it so elevated or angry? What's going on with you?
We are just aiming energy to a certain object, but also radiating the energy all the time. This world is made of vibration. So an energy is conveyed on vibration. It's like a smell, odor. We can say atmosphere or air. That is energy, I think.
Well, hi again, Eiji, and hi again, everyone, back to Paradigm Surf. Last time we left off on very interesting but essential topics. That topic being energy, right,
Yeah,
Eiji?
yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how we perceive it individually, um, and what we can kind of do to, understand it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so AJ, yeah, tell me a little bit more if you've got anything more to share about energy. I know it's a big topic and we left off, I think, with more questions than answers.
Okay. So last time you asked me about something like, the energy can affect our um, body or our energies.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, is it possible to interact with energies each other? So yeah, and I just realized that I didn't answer to your question properly. So
No, that's totally
today,
fine.
today I wanna talk about that topic. So yeah, last time I just said energy is measured by weak or strong, but I've been thinking about the energies, and I just realized that we can also measure energy by light or heavy. So
Hmm.
you can feel like heavy energy or light energy.
Yeah.
So, and I also realized that energies and emotions are nearly equal. So what you perceive from others' energy is actually emotion.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you feel heavy energy, which means that person had like a heavy emotion like anger or I don't know, depression or boredom, something like
Mm.
that. So that you can feel the other's energy through their emotions. That's what I think.
I think also these emotions oftentimes, uh, they say that 90% of the language use of communication happens non-verbally, right?
Yeah,
It's through body language, it's through the atmosphere of the room. Sometimes you have to learn how to
yeah,
read others' emotions, read the room, read the situation.
hmm,
And when things are dense, I've been in situations where the energy has been so dense because either something happened,
yeah,
something not feeling right, the energy is off, so you feel very out of place. You feel what everybody else is feeling, which is this tension.
hmm,
I think most people, if even if they don't understand the concept of energy, they will have been in that situation before. They would have been in a room where a fight just happened. When those
yeah,
emotions are released, everyone kind of is left kind of quiet, right? But at the same,
yeah,
not just these negative emotions, but really positive emotions. So, for
yeah,
example, a concert usually is filled with very high
mm,
energy, high vibrational.
yeah, yeah,
Well, maybe it's not high vibrational, but it's very high energy because you have people, they're in alignment with joy, with bliss,
Yes.
happiness, ecstasy, adrenaline, and
Hmm.
it's infectious. So, in my opinion, I believe energy is infectious,
Yeah.
either positive or negative. Maybe, I don't know, AG, if you've ever been in a
Yeah.
situation before where someone will complain and then you almost feel like you want to complain with them. You want to
Uh,
share in that energy. Or if someone shares something positive that happened to them, you also want to
uh
share something positive. So it's these bubbles of energy where we always have around ourselves, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I said we are just aiming energy to a certain object, but also we are radiating the energy all the time,
Hmm.
24/7. And then this world is made of vibration. So, and energy is conveyed on vibration always. It's
Hmm.
like a smell, odor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can say it like atmosphere or air.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is energy, I think.
Yeah. Without getting too.
Mm.
So in English, there's this thing we call the woo woo when it's, I don't know if
Uh-huh.
you've heard this before, but when something is woo woo, it means like it's a little bit too spiritual, like, a little bit too much about energy or a little too new age. These
Uh-huh.
kind of topics that are a little bit more esoterical. But sometimes
Yeah.
like energy aren't very esoterical at all. These
Yeah, yeah,
concepts
yeah.
exist in science. Like I said, they exist in our everyday lives.
Yeah.
When you are in a positive situation with positive emotion, positive energy, like you said, emotion
Uh-huh.
equals energy. When you're
Uh-huh.
in this situation, you can align yourself or vibe with this positivity, or you can align
Uh-huh.
or vibe with this negativity.
Yeah.
And it's not it, it's a spectrum, right? We have a spectrum of emotions, so we have a
Yeah.
spectrum of different energies you can align with.
Yeah.
And so I believe it's very interesting. It's very basic, right? You don't have to be someone who is very spiritual to understand that, I feel good when I'm around good people or having a good time in a good
Yeah.
environment, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had something happen really positive, AG, in your life
Uh-huh.
where you had a very good energy, a really good vibe. Maybe you can help share one of your
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I just I don't have any experience that I felt good energy, good vibes.
Mhm,
But I feel a good energy when I'm with my dog. That's I think the highest or lightest energy for me, because yeah, dogs or animals are basically how can I say, radiating the good energy, like a love, the pure love.
mhm,
Yeah.
mm,
So
mhm.
that, yeah, I don't feel any, heaviness, like I feel with like some people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They do say that petting dogs,
Mhm.
release a lot of feel-good emotions. I think scientifically speaking, like
Yeah.
oxytocin
Yes,
and,
yes. Oxytocin,
dopamine.
oxytocin. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So literally, we exchange our energies each other,
Yeah.
while I'm petting him. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think,
yeah.
animals are very good to have. Pets are very good to have, I think. If you're not
Yeah.
allergic to a pet, and you're feeling a little sad or a little depressed,
Yeah.
just go pet a dog. I know it's not that simple, but, if you have a pet to pet, I would
Yeah.
recommend
Yeah.
petting something.
So,
Um,
and also just simply, when we give present to somebody, it's also an exchange of energies, I think,
yeah,
because the
yeah.
emotion and their So they thought about the person when they got the present, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's also a good energy.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then the person who took the present also giving give that person like gratitude. That's good energy too.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's a good energy exchange, I think, like a present giving.
Yeah, these are things we do and we don't even think about sometimes. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's very inherent. It's very instinctual, you can say. When you give somebody something, you feel good for giving it. They feel good for receiving it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So this is our exchange of
Yeah.
energy. Good exchange. Now, can you tell us a little bit about
Uh-huh.
what you think about exchanging negative energy? So,
Negative energy.
yeah, for example, you're probably somebody you don't like, somebody that you don't get along with. You're probably not going to give them a present, right? Um,
Yeah. So yeah. So we yeah, maybe when someone scolds you or
yeah, yeah.
mad at you, yeah, complain about you. So
Hmm.
that's yeah, definitely negative energy. And yeah, you might be affected by that energy when
And
you're
it's
there.
both people, both parties are affected by it, right?
I think so, but it's
Yeah.
especially you, like a receiver.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this old, not this old saying, but something that they used to tell me or tell us in school when we were younger was never point your finger at somebody because you have
Mhm.
um, four fingers pointing back at you. And I think in a way that kind of means like
Yeah.
be careful what you say about other people because you're not perfect. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes when you're complaining about other people
Mhm.
or scolding other people, I believe it just reflects back
Mhm.
on you, your energy. Why is it so
Mm. Yeah.
elevated or angry? What's going on with you?
Mhm.
How
Okay.
good methods there are for being aware of your energy, but also protecting it. So you don't become exhausted from oversharing. Or I don't know if you or the listeners have heard of energy vampires. They're not real vampires, but people who um, take up a lot of your energy and you don't even know it. So I think this is something we can totally continue in the next episode um, about energy and how to protect your
Mhm.
energy and be aware of it mostly.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, then we'll see you guys in the next episode. Stay tuned. All right. Bye, everyone.